Hi, I'm Sua from TechBites with a new episode on Anthropic's newest large language model, Claude. Recently, there has been news that Anthropic has expanded the context windows of Claude from 9,000 tokens to 100,000 tokens. But what does this mean? What's Claude and what's the significance? Anthropic is an AI startup founded by the former leaders of OpenAI, the company that owns ChatGPT. It raised more than 124 million to build a more reliable and general AI system. Claude is the large language model of Anthropic that can perform summarization, searching, creative and collaborative writing, Q&A, generating codes, and more. In addition to these general functionalities, Claude also provides us with more applications. It can process and summarize long texts such as books. It can also be your personal business analyst by analyzing documents such as financial statements or research papers. Claude can also perform classification tasks such as solving a multiple choice question. Unlike ChatGPT, users can even personalize the personality, the tone, and the behavior of the assistant, which could be very useful in creating the best chatbot for your own business. So, as mentioned, Anthropic has recently expanded the context windows of Claude from 9,000 tokens to 100,000 tokens, which means it can take up to 75,000 words to process, analyze, and summarize. The concept of context windows is very important in natural language processing tasks. The context window is the number of context words around the center word that are considered in the NLP processes. This figure shows an example of when the context window increases from 0 to 2. The significance of this change is that the wider the context window, the more details of the context the model can capture and process. However, there exists a trade-off. While more details could be captured, the increase in the context window size could make the model more computationally expensive. What's great about this change is that despite the significant expansion in the context window, Claude still performs extremely fast. For example, The Great Gatsby, a famous book by Scott Fitzgerald, containing 72,000 tokens, takes longer than 4 hours for an average person to read. Before Claude, it only took 22 seconds, which is incomparable to the human speed. While the current most significant large language model, ChatGPT, focuses on providing service to the individual users, Claude focuses on partnering with many different global businesses. Claude has become a major player in the large language model market by partnering with some of the most influential big tech companies such as Notion, Slack, Google Cloud, Google Drive, Confluence, Outlook, and Zoom. Through its partnerships with Notion, Claude aims to help boost the productivity of people at workplace and at school. Claude's creative writing and summarization skills are integrated to Notion AI to help users work more efficiently and improve their writings. Claude has also shared the news of their partnership with DuckDuckGo, which is a search engine that does not track user activities unlike Google. Instead of merely listing out the related websites, DuckDuckGo aims to generate answers to users' search queries by incorporating natural language processing to the search engine with the help of Claude. Claude's announcement on its partnership with Robin AI is anticipated to reform the future of AI usage in legal areas and to rethink the future of contracts. Reading and understanding complex legal text is what most people face as difficulties in the legal domain. By integrating Claude, Robin AI helps users on drafting, summarizing, translation, and explaining complex legal contexts in simple, everyday terms. After the integration, Robin AI is seeing higher user engagement and stronger user feedback. We have taken a look at how Claude has emerged as a significant player in the field through partnerships with the major big tech companies. Now, let's take a look at how it's differentiated itself from the other large language models, especially to OpenAI's ChatGPT. Anthropic believes that large general systems could bring significant benefits to humans, but in reality, they could also be unpredictable, unreliable, and opaque. Thus, they aim to build AI systems that are more reliable, interpretable, and steerable by introducing their 3 H's. The 3 H's are the main objectives of Claude, and they stand for helpful, honest, and harmless AI systems. The 3 H's are the objectives in order to overcome some of the social limitations that recent LLMs are facing, such as convey of inaccurate information, hallucination, confabulation, and discrimination. To achieve the 3 H's, Claude has introduced a new concept called the constitutional AI that could replace the pre-existing solution called RLHF. RLHF is short for reinforcement learning from human feedback and is a crucial learning process used in ChatGPT. The initial model is trained by a reinforcement learning model to provide responses with better qualities. Humans would then rank the outputs generated by the same prompt, and their preferences are learned in the reinforcement learning process. On the contrast, Anthropic's Claude introduces a new process which they call the constitutional AI. Unlike RLHF, which uses human rankings in the reinforcement processes, constitutional AI uses a computer model to rank the generated outputs. The reason why it's called the constitutional AI is because the model is based on around 10 principles that aim to maximize positive impact, avoid harm, and autonomy. However, the 10 principles are not open to the public. In their paper on constitutional AI, Anthropic explains that there is an unavoidable trade-off between harmlessness and helpfulness. In this figure, the x-axis is the helpfulness index and the y-axis is the harmlessness index. Anthropic claims that the constitutional reinforcement learning model has a much more significant increase in the harmlessness index while minimizing the loss in the helpfulness index compared to their RLHF counterparts. Early users have reported that Claude is much less likely to produce harmful outputs, easier to converse with, and more steerable. Now that we've seen Claude's impact in the large language model field and how they work, you might be interested in trying out Claude yourself. There are 3 main ways of accessing the Claude service: using the web console provided, the API, and PoE. The web console is the easiest way to access an AI model, but you would have to request for an access. The API provides possibilities of customization for the business users. For individuals without the access, PoE could be a great roundabout way to try out Claude. PoE is a software platform that allows users to have back and forth conversations with AI chatbots such as ChatGPT, Sage, and Claude provided by Quora. After you have accessed Claude, there are 2 main versions of Claude that you can make use of: Claude and Claude Instant. Claude is the state-of-art high-performance model, whereas Claude Instant is the faster and computationally less expensive model. Basically, if you want better performance, I suggest you use Claude. But if you want a faster model, I suggest you use Claude Instant. Here are some tips for better prompting. Anthropic suggests users to talk to Claude as your newly hired contractor. It provides better results if the prompts are specific, precise, and are divided into subtasks. Self-evaluation could also be used to improve the results generated by Claude using another instance of Claude. For example, ask Claude to generate a piece of code and ask again to debug it. Despite the incorporation of constitutional AI, there still exists some limitations. The limitations that Claude is facing are somewhat similar to that of other LLMs. Claude may make mistakes when given complex or arithmetic tasks. Just like what other LLMs like Bard were criticized by, Claude could hallucinate and give false information as if it were true. It could also be out of date for up to 2 years and does not have a sense of what date it is today. Claude also cannot look things up since it does not have access to the internet, but it does know a lot of things on the internet because it is trained on it. In this episode, we explored how Claude has emerged as a key player in the field of large language models by differentiating itself from its counterparts and its usage and applications. Just like the update on context window expansion, Anthropic is continuously working on improving the performances of Claude. Since we'll be covering the coming updates on how Claude advances, please stay tuned on TechBites. This was Sua, I'll see you soon.